Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and welcome back to another review. Now, of course, as you can tell, this is a review for VHS 3, aka VHS Viral. And this is a review slash rant because at the end of the day, I really did hate the film, but there is some stuff I did like about it. There's one segment, pretty much just another anthology film. You have VHS, you have VHS 2, this is the third film. You have three stories, and you have a wraparound. And I thought that there's one story segment in this that I really enjoyed. Of course, it's the one that people don't like, or they hate the most, or they like the least, but why am I not surprised by that? But real quick, light, I hated the first VHS. I think it's very horrible shit is what it should stand for. I hate the fact it's fucking 2 hours long. It's way too goddamn long. All of the 5 stories sucked ass. You had one of the worst fucking segments in an anthology ever, where you had the most boring fucking married couple. Oh look, they're filming themselves pumping gas. And oh my god, someone snuck in, took the guy's toothbrush and put it in the toilet. Or took you 20 bucks, man, or a couple 20s. A batch of 20s, man. It's so scary. But I hated the first film. I had a 15-minute limit for my uploads when I reviewed that, so I'm going to try to put that down below in the info box. It's a 3-part rant because it was only had 15 minutes, so I had to split up the 3 parts. Hated the first film. Still do. The second film, I thought was a big step up. When I reviewed it, I said it was a time waster. I actually watched it again. I watched it again and then saw this one. And VHS 2, I like. Even when I reviewed it, which I'll put that review down below, I liked it. And in fact, the second time watching it, I liked it even a little bit more. I still say the first story with the eyeball is a shitty story. It's the worst one. In fact, I would love to do an edit where I take VHS 2 or have this edit. You took VHS 2 and you took the story that I liked in this one and replaced it with that shitty eyeball story in the second movie. And then just have that movie. I'd be fine. Because I did enjoy the zombie one, where it's from a point of view of a guy who's on his bicycle and he gets bit, turned to a zombie, made by the guys I think who did Blair Witch Project. I really liked that one. And the cult one from 2 directors, and one of them I think is the guy who directed The Raid. And I really enjoyed that one. That one I liked. Watching it again, and even watching it again, the last story, because there was 4 stories in that one. I thought the wraparound was a little bit more decent watching it, because it's about an investigator and this woman searching for a missing kid. Of the 3 movies, this has the most decent wraparound, but the wraparound is whatever. It's not too bad in the second film. It's there. I mean, I don't remember what I said in my review of it, but it wasn't really great. It was there. Uh, Even the last story with the aliens, I thought it was a little bit decent the second time around. But of the 3 films, I think the second film is the best one. So VHS 2, what do you say I liked? So you had first film, which was a total piece of shit. Then you had the second film, which I liked some of the stories. Especially the cult one. What was it? Paradise? It sort of take on those Heaven's Gate. I think it was called like Paradise Gates was the cult. And it's one of those stories that starts off slow, but it gets crazier and crazier as it goes. All this crazy shit happening. Now getting to this one, it's a big step down from the second film. It has the absolute worst fucking wraparound of any of the 3 movies. But there is one story I liked, and I'll say right here, it's the third story called Bone Storm, where it's the skateboarders in Tijuana, and then it's a little bit of build up, then it becomes this fun action movie. I didn't. That's the one I liked. That's the story I liked, and I wish they'd put that and replace it with that shitty eyeball one, where someone gets this enhancement on his, like someone puts something in his eyeball, and it's like electronics, so there's a camera, it's surgery, and then he starts seeing ghosts and shit in the second movie. And if I want to watch that, I'll watch Body Bags with Mark Hamill, who has a funky eye. But anyway, I like that story and the Bone Storm story, and I'll get into why I liked it in this film. But even the title VHS Viral is a fucking oxymoron. You have a VHS tape, but it's gone viral. And it's wrapped. First off, the wraparound, which is called Vicious Circles, it is a horrible fucking wraparound. It is probably the worst wraparound I've seen in an anthology movie. Because it is completely seemed like just random, they film random shit. Because it starts off for a good couple minutes of this guy with this girl, and he's always wanting to film shit. And he's like, oh shit, there's a cop chasing an ice cream truck. That's so exciting. I gotta run out and film this. This is the craziest chase ever. And I'm like, it's just a cop kind of hightailing, following an ice cream truck. I'm like, have you seen the Fox network? Those police videos, chases? Hell, I saw one where it was a fucking tank in a town or a city, and the cops chasing the tank. I think that's crazier. Just watch the Fox network. Watch an episode of Cops. It's crazier than the shit shown here. It's not that fucking exciting. But the guy runs out, and this ice cream truck like hits his girl, but then even though the truck hits his girl, she gets taken. And pretty much the rest of it is he gets on his bicycle and throughout the wraparound. What is something about something inside the ice cream truck? It's people get on their phones who are trying to film it. It's like affects them, and then they go crazy, and then they do crazy shit. Like later on, you have this couple fucking around in the back of a taxi, and they're both naked, and one's fucking with the other, and it gets violent. One who is hanging bad, he has like this little, this dog, and then there's like, what the hell you call it? I forget the utensil. Kind of like if you're doing a barbecue and it has like 2 prongs. Suddenly that's stuck into this dog's head, and then the guy goes ape shit killing everyone, and you get some, there's gas, and you get like shitty CGI explosions, and you see it from a fucking helicopter, this little CGI explosion pop up. I'm like, that's what I mean. It just seems like random, and then it just cuts to, here's your story. So it's not even the first 2 films. And granted, the first film had an extremely shitty wraparound. But even then, it's like they pop in a VHS tape and they see what's on the tape. Here is just crazy shit happening. And then this also has the wraparound especially has a very annoying habit of this video. And I don't know what to do with this camera. Bzz, 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 like so many times, like bzz, 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 almost to the point it's giving you a fucking headache. Like, is it trying to affect me as the viewer as well? But this wraparound was so fucking shitty, and I'll just skip to the ending of the wraparounds just to talk about the wraparound. But like during it grabs, like one guy's also chasing it, and somehow he gets snagged and he's dragged behind the ice cream truck, and then his CGI feet become CGI nubs. Just fucking horrendous effects. And then it ends with the guy getting to the ice cream truck, and he opens it, and there's like all these video screens. And his girlfriend's on one of the video screens, and something is smashing her head against, wanting him to hit this button which says upload in letters. Hit it, hit it. And then also he does, so that the thing, whatever invisible force is, stops slamming his girlfriend's head. And then the guy walks out, and then there's his girlfriend by the side with a fucking phone in her mouth. And then his nose starts bleeding. And the whole scene, guess what music is playing? Da 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 da. Ode to Joy. You know, when you look up a trailer to any of the Die Hard films, Die Hard 1 through 4, Ode to Joy. Ba da 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 da. Which does not fit this sequence at all, and it's a fucking confusing as hell wraparound. All these screens, and then for some reason there's an upload button, and there's no one else in it. Looked like there was no one else driving the fucking truck, and his girlfriend's on the screen, and all of a sudden his girlfriend's right by with a phone in her mouth, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, it can't upload itself. It needs this guy to hit the button, and then I guess that's affecting everybody because the last shot is this wide shot of the city where lights are flickering. And you see like a little CGI helicopter in the distance spinning around to crash into the ground. It's like this big. Again, as that music is playing, horrendous, the worst wraparound I've ever seen in an anthology. The worst fucking wraparound. That's saying a lot because I hated the wraparound the first VHS. And then the 3 stories, because that's one thing I should mention. One plus is this is only an hour and 20 minutes. So it's the shortest of the VHS movies. But that's because there was a 4th story that was cut out called Gorgeous Vortex, which I guess was about a shadowy, sinister organization tracking a serial killer. It was cut out. I have no idea why. And that's why the film is only an hour and 20 some minutes. It would have been an hour and 30, hour and 40 some minutes, but that 4th one was, for some reason, was cut out. For some reason, it was cut out. So you only have 3 stories. Dante the Great, which is about this magician who gets this magic cape. Yes, that's what it's about. The second one, where it's the scientist who makes this homemade machine that opens the door to a parallel world. And then the third one, which I liked, these skateboarders who they go to Mexico and they deal with this crazy ass cult and kick their ass. But the first one, Dante the Great, it really seemed out of place because even the way it's filmed, it's like a film I enjoy called The Tunnel. And what I mean by that is The Tunnel, it has the found footage, but then it has people being interviewed, like someone like this talking to the camera, or other people being interviewed about this magician. And then they'll cut to footage. Which again, it just seemed like awkward to put that kind of thing in because it was never in any of the other films. But okay, I wouldn't care if it was good. If I liked it, I wouldn't give a shit. But because I don't give a shit about the story, and I think what was annoying about this one was, for some reason, this magician films everything. Now, what I mean by that is, okay, he has his cape, and he's able to do these crazy stuff. He has his magic cape, and he's able to, the rabbit's over here, and he's able to almost like teleport the rabbit, and he's able to do all this crazy shit, and he gets excited about it, so he's filming it. But then you find out that the cape needs to eat. I'm like, is this the deathbed? You know, deathbed's son or cousin that needs to eat? Except it's a cape. Is this cape made from remnants of the deathbed? The bed that eats? This cape's made from that material? No, so he has to find women, and he films all this for some reason. I don't know why. I guess so it'd be easier. Maybe he learned from the guys who did the wraparound in the first VHS. Make it easier to be prosecuted if he's to go to be prosecuted. Oh, here's all the evidence. You showed all the crimes you did. So you have the scene like you see in the trailer where there's a woman in the shower and he puts the fucking cape and it's, fucking eats her and see blood hit the shower curtain. Or he puts the cape over a woman in bed. It's like night vision. And she flails around and the fucking cape eats her. I'm sorry, it's just a stupid idea. The fucking cape. A fucking magic cape that wants to eat people. And I like movies that have stupid ideas, but I don't know, I just... why the fuck is this guy filming every goddamn thing? Even some guys fucked with him in his dressing room or wherever, and then he does like this, and the guy's like, oh, with his wrist, and then the magician does this, and the guy's neck breaks. And then he meets this woman who's going to be his assistant. They kind of fall in love. And the guy ultimately gets arrested. And he, of course, gets out of it very quickly and easily. And I'll give credit. I think there's some interesting stuff in this, though. Some interesting shots, effects, however you want to call it. Editing, that type of thing. For example, the scene you see in the trailer where the woman is being interrogated by a cop, and then she, boom, disappears into her chair. And the next scene, she's being pulled back, and the magician Dante, they're right back at his, stage. I guess the best way to put it. Or when the SWAT guys, who they have cameras as well, they're trying to attack Dante, and he's just taking all these people out. There's one where like the chest just rips open. You see a rib cage. We're like, oh shit. That was one like, oh shit. Making one burn, lighting him on fire. Some he's just lifted in the air, breaking bones, or at least you hear breaking bones, and just pretty much killing all the SWAT guys. So that was a pretty decent scene. I like that scene. And when I'm talking about editing, for example, they shoot one, and they look at it, and they go, oh my god, it's him. Then they turn it over, and they go, oh my god, it's one of our guys, what the fuck? And you realize that he actually somehow switched his body. Like, now the magician is wearing the SWAT, and he, kills one. And that's what I mean by the editing. Like, he can pretty much do anything. But then at this time, I don't know where the fuck... It might have been explained. If it was explained, then forget about this. But then there's like still more cameras off to the side staring at them. I'm like, what are these cameras? Are these SWAT guys that decided to hold back? Is there some news group that staying very silent throughout the whole thing? Is he holding these cameras like the guy in Chronicle with his mind? I don't know. The girl and the guy have a tug of war of the cape. And then even though the guy has the cape, the girl is able to do something, have the ropes on him, and he just pulled back and eaten by the cape. And the girl then takes the cape, burns it, goes back home. Then, oh my god, the cape's still there. Something like she's here, the cape's here, hung up. A figure lurches out to her, and it ends. And I'm like, I think really, I didn't care for the story. For some reason, I'm drinking a lot in this one. I just didn't care for the story. I like some of the tricks. I like some of the effects. I like the scene where he's, fucked up all the SWAT guys. But I don't know, just... why is this guy filming everything? Why is this guy filming... I don't know, just the idea of a fucking cape that eats people is just fucking silly. And... maybe it's just me, but it seemed like this tone... I don't know if it was meant to scare you, or if it's meant to be funny, or it's meant to... I may be the only one that feels the way. It seems like the tone was all over the place in that one. It felt like I didn't know what tone it wanted to be. It could have been just me. That's just my opinion. And the second story, which is Parallel Monsters. This one, I will admit, of the three stories, this one felt the longest, and probably not in the best way. It has some interesting ideas, but it kind of made me think of like a horror movie version of Sliders. If you remember that TV show Sliders with Jerry O'Connell, which I liked the first couple seasons until they started killing everyone off and all that shit. And then it made me say fuck this series. But I liked the first season or two of Sliders. Because again, that's the one where a guy builds, and it's in another language, so it's subtitled. And a guy builds a machine, and he turns it on, and it goes to a parallel universe, and there's another version of him. And they're both kind of doing the same thing. Oh, you made one too. Oh, how? And then they both pass through and go into the other's world. Pretty much his parallel version, he goes in, looks around, has night vision, is looking at his version's wife sleeping. Now, the guy in our world, he goes into his doppelganger's world, and he sees all this, some weird shit. And there's a bit of a build-up. Sometimes it felt like a little bit too much of a build-up. It seems like, for me, the pacing, it felt like it went along a little too long. It starts out with some weird stuff, and maybe that's the point, but because, like, this doppelganger's wife, she's like, hey, you want to have some fun? And then there's two more guys there. And the guy's like, huh? What's this? And then they sit down, and for some reason, they hear there's a noise of a woman fucking, which I don't remember it ever being explained. On TV, there's someone being, looks like a witch trial or something. And then there's this weird bag with blood in it, and something's in the bag, and you never know what it is. And of course, the guy's weirded out. And he sees a bright light outside, runs off, and there's a big CGI blimp with an upside down cross. And then those two guys, their eyes, if you see in the trailer, you see like people with weird light coming out of eyes and mouth. That's what happens. Then they force him down, and I'm like, are they going to rape this guy? Because they open up their pants, and a demon penis, it's like this fucking big, and it's got like a mouth, and it's practical, and it's like a shriveled up demon penis monster. And so then the guy runs off, and then there's his doppelganger's woman who has a vagina monster that opens up, and he smacks her and runs off. For some reason, that made me think of the deleted scene in From Dusk Till Dawn, only it wasn't a vagina, it was a stomach that opened up and I think ate a guy's head in a deleted scene. It made me think of that, but I like that film better than this. And at the same time, his doppelganger in the real world, of course, he's from that world, he has a demon penis, and you think he killed the woman. Because when he goes back to his own world, he sees his doppelganger covered in blood, and they both fight. And they both go back to their worlds. And that doppelganger goes back to his parallel world, and the woman who was struck, she thinks him is him, and kills him, bites his head off with his vagina, her vagina monster. And then that guy thinks his woman's dead because of all the blood, but the woman comes out, and I guess she was just raped or fucked up by the. So she thinks that guy with the crazy penis is this guy, and so she stabs him. That's how it ends. And I just, It seems like of the three stories, this is the one that gets the most praise. And to be honest, it's my least favorite because I thought it was fucking boring. That was a boring. I saw this shit so many times in Sliders TV shows. Like really, I mean, okay, it's a parallel universe, and here's something in a bloody bag. I'm like, okay. I hear a woman fucking. Okay. Weird demon. Well, I don't. I keep saying demon, but penis monsters and a vagina creature. Okay. And like, they have weird light coming out of their mouth, like it's fucking Lopan. Just go watch that movie. I just this of the three stories, this one gets the most praise, and I don't get it. I just a lot of people liked it. That's fine if you liked it. I thought it was boring. I thought it was lame. I thought it was uninteresting. This is like something I would see in an ABCs of Death, like the first ABCs of Death, because I had like, oh, don't you better come or you die, and fart monsters. This seemed like something I would see in that. And I didn't care for those. I liked the first ABCs of Death. I liked okay. I liked the second one more, a lot more. But yeah, I didn't care for this story. I just thought it was just a lame story. And I thought it was boring. I didn't think it was creepy. A couple interesting ideas, I guess, but I didn't give a fuck at all. I was just waiting for it to be over. And then you get to the third story, which I liked. That's the one people don't like. I think it's from that segment was from the guys who did the Resolution, which is a film I reviewed, which I liked that movie, Resolution. And I like this one. It's I don't know. A lot of people don't like it as they feel it's obnoxious, or the characters are unlikable and obnoxious, and they thought it was just boring or stupid or whatever. I don't understand, but that's just I disagree. It's called Bone Storm, and it's ultimately four people going to Mexico, and how this led up is this director who is a real asshole. This director is a real asshole because these two skateboarders hired him to film their skateboarding. And this director's an asshole because you see in the distance a skateboarder doing a crazy jump from one rooftop to another. And the director's like, come on, mess up, mess up. Oh, come on, mess up, mess up. Oh, yeah, I was, the film didn't, you don't have to do it again. He pretty much wants these guys to get hurt. Because he even says a line later on that about Faces of Death and Jackass, and that sells a lot. So this guy wants these two skateboarders to get hurt, but these two skateboarders don't know that yet. Because there's even a scene later on where a skateboarder is coming down, and there's a truck coming. Now he can't see it, but the director can, and he goes, "Oh, you're okay, you're okay." And the guy almost gets hit, and of course, and then I mean the director's a piece of shit, to be honest. The director guy. And the two skateboarders, I think at first people would say they're a little bit obnoxious, but I don't know. I like them. People go, why? I think I like them through their actions, and also little stuff like for example, like even little stuff like they're skating. Hey, one of them almost hits a guy, and he apologizes. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were there. And then the guy starts beating up on him, and his buddy comes in to help him out. I don't know, these two guys, I thought, from what I understand, they're skateboarders, they're not actors. But I thought they did a decent job, and they had a natural flow with each other, like they knew each other. You don't get to spend too much with that, but I like the little stuff they had with each other. One guy goes, "Oh yeah, if there was a life and death, you'd leave me," and the guy goes, "No, no, I wouldn't," which heads to later on in the segment. And what I mean by it is they do some nice stuff, and the fact that like they're talking, and one guy tells a story about how I had no time, I had to piss in this bucket, this bottle. I had to piss in this bottle, and I fell asleep. When I woke up, I forgot, and I took a big swig. And the guy's like, "Oh man," it's like, "Yeah, well, weirdly enough, it still tasted like beer." But like, there's a bum, and the guy asks for $1. And these two aren't assholes. If they were assholes, they would have done something. But they said, "Oh no, man! Like one guy goes, no, man! Spent all my money in this fucking video director guy. But yeah, I got this candy. I mean, I did bite the end part, but you know, you could have the rest." And then the other guy's like, "Hey, you know, you can have one of my," like gives him a cigarette or one of his. I think he says Stody or something. Like this is like a cigarette or a joint. I'm not sure. He gives him one. But you know, they give the bum stuff. You know, they're being nice about that. I like the one of the skateboarders talking and the director keeps interrupting, and to the point where the guy turns around and is like, "Fucking, you know, I'm gonna fucking pistol whip the shit out of you if you interrupt me one more time." I like the way the guy said it because the director's a jerk off, and I like the way the guy said that line. You know, I'm gonna fucking pistol whip the shit out of you if you interrupt me one more time. And pretty much this guy, he has this other guy who, I like that the two skateboarders pretty much just call him Video Guy, and the other guy is oh gas gas card guy or gas kid. I forget what was it. God, I forgot. I forgot what it was. Like because like the kid has a credit card and in order for gas, and the director's like, "Oh, I know this place in Tijuana," and the two skateboarders like, "Man, I don't want to go to Tijuana. There's game bangers there, and there's cartel." And then the director's like putting this bullshit. Oh, and they got firecrackers, and they got weed. And then the guy still taught him when he says weed. The two skateboarders kind of look at him, and then I like the cut. It cuts right to them driving to Tijuana, mess around in Tijuana. You see that they get firecrackers, and they get a bunch of different types of firecrackers, which leads to the. I like the way it's shot because they have helmet cams, so they have a camera going this way, and then they have a camera looking at their face, and then they also have cameras on their skateboards. So you know, there are actual skateboarders, so you see them do some really cool tricks from the point of view, and the webcam, not webcam, the camera point of view of that is pretty cool as well. Made it a little bit different from the other stories and the other films, including this one. And pretty much they find this park with this sort of ramp type place. And, you know, a guy hurts himself and it bleeds into this symbol that's on the ground. And then these people in robes start appearing, and there's this cult. And like there's this woman, and one goes, "Hey, dude, your sister followed us here." And then like this, I love this line where this guy in the distance comes up and starts humming, and one of the skateboarders says, "A video guy, gay. Hey, video guy, your dad's a good singer." It might not seem much to people, but I don't know. I just like the way the guy said that. Hey, video guy, your dad's a good singer. I know I had to repeat it twice, as if you didn't hear it the first time. But I like the pretty much that's when shit goes to hell because the video guy, who again, who's been the asshole, gets his arm ripped off from this girl, and that's where shit gets crazy. And pretty much the gas kid guy, he doesn't know what to do, and he ultimately gets killed. And it's pretty much just these two skateboarders, and the rest of it is this action movie where these two give Ash from Evil Dead a run for his money because they beat the fuck out of all of these cult member guys. Like one guy gets a gun and, you know, boom, 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 boom. They're hitting him with their skateboard. One's throwing this thing, which I don't know if it's what it is acid or gas or whatever, and uh, just beating the fuck out of him, punching the shit out of him. Uh, he even has his phone aside and he turns on a song and the song plays and they start beating the fuck out of these guys and helping the other guy out. Uh, I thought it was pretty fun, some fun action. And then they hear that something big is coming, and all the the fools that they killed are getting back up again. It's like, hey, we gotta get the fuck out of there. And then they get to this pass, and there's more guys that they gotta fight. And remember what I said earlier where the one guy kids, yeah, I'm sure in a life and death situation, you just leave me. Two of these guys get on him, and the guy's like, go, run! And the kid's like, look around, and, fuck it, goes back and helps his friend out. Oh my god, a guy who does something worth a shit. Goes back, helps his friend out. And during this, he's like skateboarding, he shoots like this thing that fire, this, I don't want to say firecracker, firework that hits these two guys and burns them up. Some questionable CGI in the fire effects. That's my problem with it. Is you have some questionable CGI, especially with the fire effects. But overall, still, I'll let that go on the fact I'm having fun with the point of view of the skateboard or them just fucking these people up. He even throws firecrackers and kicks them, and they blow up. There's one who has just a skull, and one takes a skateboard and knocks the head off. Uh, I like that he puts his firecracker in one, and they're leaving. He turns back, and the fucking uh, skeleton zombie with a robe does this and blows up. And then they ride off. And granted, there's a shot where you see like there's more coming, but they said, hey, we're alive. We don't stop till we get to the border. And they keep going. And you don't see them die. And then you realize that this whole ritual, this monster comes out. Looks like he's got hooves. And the asshole director is still alive. And point of view, if he gets fucking eaten, and you see the camera go down this creature's throat. I like that even there's an interview with the directors, and they said that, how normally in these films is usually just one person who died. There's only one, really, like, no one lives, I should say. I thought that they say that usually no one lives and everyone dies, but they want to do something a little bit different. And talk about how, well, these cult members, they'd be lucky if they got in one fight, but how about, these skateboarders, they probably get in a fight every day. So to show, hey, these guys want to be put down by these cult guys. And in my opinion, I would love to do a sequel where, they even face a bigger threat, and then they make it through the border and they're okay. And I like the way these directors work. I mean, I like that. Really enough, considering the film resolution they made in the ending, but that was an ending that there was a sort of a question mark ending. But a question mark is better than a definite. And, well, it depends that depends. I was thinking, like, Jar Jar was the thing did that very well. That question mark ending. But, it's, wow. One that not everyone dies, and the asshole director gets his comeuppance. Because he was an asshole, and fun action. Tombs of the Blind Dead, some of these guys look like Tombs of the Blind Dead, and I like this a hell lot more than any of the Tombs of the Blind Dead movies. I hated all those fucking movies. This one I thought was fun and energetic and had a lot of action when it happened, and nice point of views from the skateboard, fucking up people, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was very entertaining. I really liked it. And then I already talked about the fucking the wraparound. So it's a review slash rant in the fact there's one segment I like. And if I could put that skateboard segment in VHS2 and swipe it out with that shitty eyeball one, I would love to have that version, but I don't even have any DVD-Rs if I wanted to do that. But horrible wraparound. It was confusing. It just seemed like random shit and random shit. And it wasn't that interesting. It wasn't that fun. It wasn't scary. It wasn't creepy. It was just confusing and annoying and boring. The first Dante the Great had a couple interesting shots and edits, but a fucking magician having a magic cape that needs to eat people. And again, there's a lot of stuff I've liked that are stupid hell. I'm sure people can name them. The Mangler, The Shaft. But I thought they were just more fun movies than this segment. This segment wasn't really that fun. And it seemed like I didn't know what tone it wanted to be. And, didn't care for the ending. I ultimately didn't care for the story. Why is he filming every fucking thing, including all of his murders? You think that'd be something you want to keep under wraps? I mean, you want to show tricks, fine, but you don't... Why the fuck do you, you're famous now, you become a famous magician, why do you need to keep filming shit? What the hell am I doing? The second one, I thought it was just sort of a... It's just... Oh man, it's like an evil version of Sliders, but I just would rather watch Sliders. At least the first 1 or 2 seasons. So I just didn't do anything. The parallel universe didn't really do anything for me. It did it for a lot of people, not for me. I thought that was the most boring story. And the third one I thought was fun. I thought it was a fun, entertaining one. Action one. Had a fun vibe to it. Which I think was I think in the interview, the directors, it was their intention to just have a fun action one. Which I thought they did a good job. And I had fun with some of the dialogue, and I liked the 2 skateboarder guys, and I liked that they were kicking ass. Nice to see that in one of these kind of things. But you think about it, in any of the VHS, when has someone really kicked ass? In any of the VHS movies? I can't think of any. So it was a nice welcome change of pace. And that's the one that gets hated on the most. But hey, to each their own. So ultimately, I would say this is shitty. I think VHS 2 is the best because at least I had... Even the last story I could deal with the aliens. But at least 2 really good stories. And I think I had a pretty decent pacing. The wraparound is the most decent of the 3 movies. So VHS 2 I will put first. This one, second, only the fact it has at least 1 segment that I like. And it's only an hour and 20 minutes. The movie. And the first VHS is the absolute worst. Because it's fucking 2 hours long. And it has 5 stories. And all of them suck dick. Suck fucking cocks. And a fucking nuts roasting on a fucking fire. Right through a fire crotch. But anyway, thanks for watching this long-ass review. I didn't think it'd go on to 40 minutes, but if I'm talking about 3 stories and a wraparound, that's how I do it. But either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.